Hello, my name is Stephanie Hart, and I'm going to talk to you today about emotional dramaturgy. A gut-wrenching miscarriage after months of in vitro fertilization. A blind date turns into an emotionally toxic situation. A high school party leads to a physically and emotionally damaging encounter. A white headmaster berating a young indigenous child in the residential schools while he cuts the child's braids. These are all plot points in shows that I have worked on in the past 2 years. Each story is important and demands to be told. However, at what price to the performers? How do we create a space for performers to explore uncomfortable emotions, but not carry these feelings into their personal lives? We need to dramaturgically structure processes that let performers safely explore these dark places and elicit emotions of characters facing raw, difficult, and/or dangerous situations. However, just as importantly, we need to institute practices for them to dispose of these emotions and safely return to their own psychologically healthy spaces, leaving the trauma and vulnerability of the character in the room and not taking it home to their personal lives. This presentation advocates for what I've termed emotional dramaturgy, constructing processes that create pedagogical boundaries and psychological separation of performers and performance. There are many published studies on how to put on or elicit emotions for the stage, as well as how performed emotions affect an audience. What's missing from academic writings is how to take off the emotions and the effect of these performances on the actors. Susan Block refers to it as an emotional hangover, or emotions that haunt the body after an intense rehearsal or performance. As media psychologist Ellie A. Congen says, research on empathy and identification, as far as theater studies are concerned, usually concerns the relationship between spectators and characters, and seldom concerns the relationship between actors and characters. I submit that protocols and rehearsal spaces surrounding depictions of violence, trauma, intimacy, and emotional vulnerability have insufficiently protected actors from harm. Emotional dramaturgy resists the mantra of just do it, which can sometimes manifest in rehearsal spaces, instead providing pathways for actors to both put on and take off the emotions they must necessarily tap into when performing such scenes. The research will be conducted through a critical ethnographic lens utilizing theories from psychology and neuroscience. Today's world is changing fast, and we are confronting uncomfortable truths and power structures. Theater is a tool for healing, and difficult stories need to be told. It's vital that we understand how important it is to protect our performers when telling these stories. As not all theatrical intimacy and violence is physical, this research looks at emotional violence and intimacy as well. It seeks to understand the psychology behind the damage of some historical practices and mindsets when engaging in emotionally intense theater. Things said and done on the stage and in character can leave traces of trauma on performers that will continue to haunt them until after the curtain comes down.